Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Kezon McNeill show. I hope everyone is having a wonderful week, or actually weekend. We're wrapping up the weekend here, and amazing weekend. We had 4th of July celebrated over at my family's house over in D. It's always good to kind of get with family and friends, and it's something that my family, my wife's family, which is my family now because we're married, the Robinsons have been doing. I mean, I've been doing it with them probably at least 7 years, 8 years. And so I think they have been doing it a little bit before that as well. We would just kind of get together, cook out, fireworks. And it's just always amazing and a blessing just to see us, see people come together, and there's never ever any issues or anything like that. While we were, kind of sitting around, I just had a moment where I was just so grateful for not just my family, but just looking at all the kids that are running around, man, and just having a good time playing, and some of these cousins and friends just meeting for the first time and things of that nature, and they just kind of blend right in. It's always amazing to see. But also always, I got to thinking about, legacy and the what ifs, and I always start to think about, how do we make our kids' future better than ours was, right? Or how do we help them have a better chance at life? And I'm not talking about, just getting a job and, growing up and things like that, but like just overall, how do we put them in a better position to win? I'm not going to talk about different ethnicities and advantages that some ethnicities have versus some ethnicities, because they're present, it's real, right? We know that happens. We know that there's bias, in the world, right? Or favoritism is what I'm going to use in the world, right? But those are not excuses anymore for us, to not still propel our next generation forward and to give them a great head start on life, right? So I got to talking with one of my buddies, who came through and hung out with us for a little while. And he was just kind of talking about, kind of a little worried about, his child and trying to get him into college and then through college. And, because financially it's tough for him right now, for my partner, it's tough for him right now. So, and granted, his child right now is, I think, he is 12 right now. So, it's really kind of talked about his debt and things like that, because, he and I talk a lot. So we got to talking, and I told him, I asked him, what is their main concern right now? He says, I make good money, but to the point where I can't qualify for financial aid for my child, but, my child will be able to get financial aid, but then there's this cycle I'm telling them about, right? So the cycle is now your child gets financial aid and student loans, and now he comes out with this burden of bills that he has to deal with. So first thing he has to deal with after he graduates from college is paying bills, right? And I guess that's just the American dream, but it's not, right? Then he's also got to deal with trying to find a job. He's got to deal with, and then not knowing that, the playing field is not level. We live in a world where it's past ethnic bias. It's more about now, even still, you got to know somebody to really get a job now, right? The job market has changed, the climate has changed, and it's forever changed. And what I mean by that is when people are applying to jobs now, there's 600-700 applications just for a general entry level job, right? So you're competing, and then 90% of the time, the employer already has a candidate in mind. I'm just going to be honest with you all that, I've been in this industry, the talent acquisition industry, over 27 years. And most of the times, there's already a candidate in mind, so it's tough enough as it is, right? So, I told him that, we talked about, focusing on his debt, right? So, and I'm going to share this with everyone. Right? We can't, as African Americans, we can't keep making excuses about it not being a level playing field when the tools and the opportunities are out here for us to close the gap and for us to create our own or your family's own financial legacy, right? And also create wealth within your own family circle. And when I say wealth, I'm not sitting here talking about billions of dollars and all that, and I'm not selling you no dream. I'm talking about creating a banking system where you can kind of control the narrative in terms of having these opportunities versus having to go into debt for these opportunities, right? And that's through cash value life insurance, right? Permanent life insurance. So the tool that I use is an index universal life policy, or I use whole life. It just all depends on scenarios and situations, right? News flash for you all out there who are pro one thing or the other. They both work. They are both very efficient and can provide income streams and opportunities to go out and invest in other things if your policy is designed correctly, right? So, in saying that, we met. This was Fridays when we have a conversation. So we met today, and it's Sunday. We met today to kind of talk about some things. It's go time for him, right? So we talked about creating an opportunity, creating a policy for him, not just his child, but for him, for his whole family in terms of the banking system, right? How we're going to take that debt that he has and all the interest that he's paying out to creditors and banks, and we're going to recapture that interest. Is it an overnight process? It's not. But it can be a fun process. It can be an amazing process. And I guarantee you this much, it is a process that will work, period. Again, this is not an investment. This is not to be compared with the stock market. This is not to be compared to someone's 401k. It's not. Those are investment instruments. This is not an investment. This is just a way of banking. And everyone should be in the banking business, period. Everyone. If you are depending on your 401k and Social Security to take care of you and to provide a lifestyle for you when you retire, I'm going to give you some answers to the test right now before you work those other 20, 30, 40 years, however long you got to work until your retirement. It's not going to happen. The return is just not going to be there. Sure, you'll have some 401k money, and we kind of know what Social Security is going to look like. It's about $1,900 a month. If they don't defund Social Security, there's some, the Social Security is looking to run out in 2030, I think 34. So we have to, and I'm sure they'll come up with a solution to refund the program and things like that. But what if they don't, right? Again, I'm sure they will. But again, $1,900 a month is not going to. You can't even rent an apartment for $1,900 a month. At least you can't rent an apartment in the area you want to live in, right? And then your 401k situation, that just kind of is what it is, I do not recommend having all my eggs in one basket. I just don't, you know what I mean? When you can also add a third source of income through a cash value policy. And along the way, let's get you out of debt. Let's get your debt under control. So you can have more reserve income. So if you're not spending $5,000 and $6,000 a month on bills, and let's say you're spending half of that, right? Now that other half, that $2,500, can go into some other things that we can, you know what I mean? So now I'm at a place where now you don't have to make as much money. You know what I'm saying? So we created a solution for him. I did this morning, and I'm super excited for him, right? Because not only, when I say a solution, I got a solution for himself, his child, and his family, right? And I'm showing that we're going to start banking, and he will be, based on our solution, he'll be out of debt in 8 years, period. Like I tell people on other videos, if I could show you a way to get you out of debt in 9 years or less without you spending any more money than you're spending already, would you be interested in seeing what your numbers look like? There's nothing salesy about it. There's nothing network marketing about it, MLM about it. It's freaking life insurance. That is the vehicle I use, And my family of my 3 children and my wife and I, we have a total of, I think, 8 policies right now. And we'll be going to 11 here in the next 30 days, right? Because I'm committed and dedicated to, first, one, getting out of debt and not having to worry about finances so much as I reach my senior years, right? I'm 50 years old right now. I just turned 50 in April. It is July. And I don't want to worry about, how I'm going to live and pay my bills. I don't want to downsize my lifestyle just because I retired, which I'll never retire. I'll always be doing something, with multiple businesses and things that I own. But that's not everybody's dream and wish, right? So I encourage you to, I know a lot of us, we have these big dreams and we want to invest and we want to start businesses and we want to do all these things. And that's very admirable, honorable, whatever. It's a great thing to want to do those things, but let's start with the foundation. Let's get you out of debt first, right? Let's do that. And it's a commitment, man, but it can be fun. It can be fun to know you're about to pay off a bill, right? It can be fun to know you're paying off the next one. And you're starting to see the results of that is more money in your banking system, right? So I just wanted to share that with you all today because our kids are the future, right? And if you don't stop making excuses and blaming it on other things, everything's going to stay the same. And then your kids are going to inherit those same excuses, It's not set up for us to win. You know, this is how it is. But the information is out here for you to get in the game and play the game. You don't have to be a millionaire to play this game. You don't have to be a millionaire to get out of debt. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta act. That's it. You gotta have action, a plan. And I'm telling you, you know, I practice what I preach. I'm on my get out of debt journey as well. And it's amazing. It's a commitment, but I love it. You know, yeah, I'm making some sacrifices right now, but it's also allowed me cash to go put my money into other businesses and start other things. You know, like many of you know, I started an Uber, well, not an Uber, I started a rideshare rental company where I just, you know, I rent out cars to individuals who want to do rideshare. That's still in this infant stage, but, you know, I'm in business doing it, you know, and it's just to create another stream of income, you know, because I refuse to allow myself to even ever think about having one stream of income. You know, if you are just working your W-2 job right now, you better wake up and find another stream. You better find another stream of income. An additional stream is what I'm saying. Not telling you to quit your job, but find another stream of income that's going to pay you some money as well. Because these jobs end like that, man. They end like that. And no apologies, no nothing. Maybe a severance if you're lucky. And now you're out here on the street trying to find a job with a market that's forever changed. It's just forever changed. So I encourage you, hit the link, set up a calendar meeting with me just to see what your numbers look like, you know, and you're going to decide how much you pay. This isn't a thing where, you know, you got to pay an extreme amount of money either. You start where you are, right? But starting where you are versus not starting at all is like night and day. So just want to encourage everyone, man. I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend, 4th of July weekend. I know we did, but stop thinking about yourself so much and start thinking about the future self. Start thinking about your future self. You know, what would your future self is dependent on you to make the right decisions today. I'm gonna say that again. Your future self is depending on you to make the right decisions today, right? So get enthusiastic about getting out of debt. Get enthusiastic about that. I know it doesn't sound sexy, but I guarantee you having no debt and being able to put your money into other things that's gonna make you more money, it's an amazing feeling. I've done it, doing it. So I just want to leave y'all with that, man. Again, I appreciate all the support on the channel. I appreciate the questions I get about some of the videos and things of that nature. Good, bad, and different. I still appreciate all the comments. I really do. But I'm going to encourage you, act. Hit the link, set a meeting up, and let's talk about it. There's nothing to be ashamed about. Let's make this happen and get to this money. I'll see you guys on the next episode. If you could do this favor for me, hit the copy link, and I want you to share it with 5 people in your cell phone right now, because you may not need it, you may not be ready, but chances are somebody in your cell phone contact list is ready. So don't block them. Share it. Let's talk about it. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Like, share, subscribe, but please share this with some of your people in your network. All right? I'll see you guys later. Thanks.